We really boxing. Who wanted the baddest? Let's see. Oh, we boxing, yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know, shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know, every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know, I ain't getting body.
Yo, the JBT is back at you with another raffle. This time we be giving away an iPad, 10th generation iPad, on entertainment in the pocket of your hand. So you wonder, how do you get this iPad? It's only $10. We're giving away block specials for all our prizes this time around. $10 per entry, 3 entries for just $25 to get you in this time. Who don't love a block special? Not only are we giving away an iPad, but it's more gifts. Who don't love gifts? Gifts on top of gifts. Send that money, JBT Network 1, JBT Network 1, JBT Network 1. Now, what you say is the other prizes now? We linked up with Kenichi Bear. Noise canceling headphones from the young brother straight from Baltimore, Maryland. So, if you want an addition to your $10, you get a secondary prize if you don't win the first prize. And then don't forget, we got more. Don't win the first prize, don't win the second prize. Who don't need an air fryer? We're giving away a Ninja air fryer. Get your food right, eat healthy, get right. All on the JBT. $10 once again. I get you all of this. Your chance is golden. You got to be in it to win it. If you ain't in it, you don't get no prize. $10, JBT Network 1. Good luck. It's on you. Yo, the JBT is back at you with another raffle. This time we be giving away an iPad, 10th generation iPad, on entertainment in the pocket of your hand. So you wonder, how do you get this iPad? It's only $10. We're giving away block specials for all our prizes this time around. $10 per entry, 3 entries for just $25 to get you in this time. Who don't love a block special? Not only are we giving away an iPad, but it's more gifts. Who don't love gifts? Gifts on top of gifts. Send that money, JBT Network 1, JBT Network 1, JBT Network 1. Now, what you say is the other prizes now? We linked up with Kenichi Bear. Noise canceling headphones from the young brother straight from Baltimore, Maryland. So, if you want an addition to your $10, you get a secondary prize if you don't win the first prize. And then, don't forget, we got more. Don't win the first prize, don't win the second prize. Who don't need an air fryer? We're giving away a Ninja air fryer. Get your food right, eat healthy, get right. All on the JBT. $10 once again. I get you all of this.
For our viewers who don't know, tell them who the original man.
The original man is the Asiatic Black Man. He's the maker. He's the cream of planet Earth. He's father of civilization and God of this universe, Sarit. And there's only one God.
For our viewers who don't know, tell them who the original man.
The original man is the Asiatic Black Man. He's the maker. He's the
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BVO Boxing, man. I'm your host. You got my co-host, D Free, aka the Puerto Rican debater, man. What's going on, Free? How you feeling, man?
Was good.
And we got one of our special guests. She's in the background. We got Kai, Alexandria. She knows a lot about boxing. Key. Very popular. A lot of like her takes. Sorry. So we're gonna bring her up. How you doing today?
Hey, you guys. How are you?
Oh, we doing well.
Can you hear me? Am I good?
It's like you got an Obama phone a little bit.
No, I'm on my computer. What? Let me put my speaker on. Let me put my headphones on. Hold on.
That Obama hookup over there. See, she got the Harley. I see my man Free got a cut on. Look at Free. The dyed the beard darker. Look at Free. Look at Free.
Ain't no dye over here. You don't see the gray right here? Ain't no dye over here.
Yeah, I know how y'all do it. Y'all take most of the gray out.
Nah, I ain't had no problem.
But you know, we watched it. I tell you what, man, I'm really excited about what we seeing in boxing, man. We really starting to see like some young guys, man, calling for fights. You know, we just seen something I never thought we'd see. We just seen Boots Ennis duck Brian Norman Jr., the #1 welterweight. It's crazy, man, when you see that.
Man, Duran ain't duck nobody. Eddie Hearn just ain't willing to pay the money. Duran ain't duck nobody. Duran ready to fight. I mean, it's a bad situation for Duran because he signed with a promoter that ain't fully invested in him. So I mean, I just I look at it and I understand. Like I said, if I was Brian Norman, I would have took the fight because 1.5, 1.7, whatever the number was, it's more than what he made in his last fight. And at some point, your son is going for legacy as well. Like I said, if you truly believe that your son is going to beat Duran, then you take the deal. It catapults your son's name to the next level. He just beat the #1 guy at 147, and now he's a unified champion. Yeah, you might have took a smaller bag than what you wanted or what your goal was, but if you beat him, you're not looking back anymore. You got that fight under your belt. You're a unified champion. You're not looking back anymore. So yeah, you might not got what you was looking for off the break, but you got to look at the bigger picture.
Right. I mean, I think when you say that you got a good point. But what I'll say is this, man. If you wanted to make the fight, did it, man. At the end of the day, that's what those Philly dudes do, man. They get you all hyped up and they let you down. It's just like we same thing with Iverson went to the finals. We go all excited. He won game 1, and what happened? Got beat to death. So typical Philly style, man. That's what you get, man. A lot of pump faking, but I don't know. I got Brian Norman Jr. stopping Boots. So I mean, when we do get the fight, I think my man Brian Norman Jr. gonna stop him, man. I just think he gonna stop him. But we got Paul Pierce Prize in the house. Man.
Was good. Was good. Free was good.
What's going on, Prize?
He said, "Stop flogging, dog." What is he talking about? Salute to my man William Old School.
My dude in the chat.
I think the funny thing is, and I ask you, when you hear Eddie Hearn get all this flack, I think the thing people forgetting, Eddie Hearn has never done anything for a black fighter. Never, ever. Whether it's Boo Boo, nobody ever did something from was a guy from his country, AJ. But what did he do for Danny Jacobs? Nothing. What did he do for Boots Ennis? Nothing. I mean, you seen it. When Danny Jacobs, when he got that, he was super trained. Right. So I don't know. I don't think a tiger his stripes.
BVO, you going in and out, bro.
Y'all can hear?
We can hear you, but you kind of like choppy.
I don't know how I'm on 100% bars, but
good.
I'll say this, man. I'm just excited about what was going on in boxing. My man said BVO cap. What's cap am I saying?
Yeah.
The truth, man. Uh-oh, we got my guy, man. What's up, y'all?
What's good, brother?
Going on?
Hey, brother, you make a lot of news, man.
Man, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't nobody. Let me try and make my sound better.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my AirPods as well.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. I ask you this, man. I think when you said that point about selling the belt, man, brother Bernard, I didn't think you'd go there, bro. Because I've been saying I ain't expect you to. You ain't supposed to tell the truth. What you doing telling the truth, man? I was shocked to hear you say that, man.
let me try and get this sound together because y'all can hear me, but I'm having a hard time hearing y'all. Hold on.
No. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you. Eddie Hearn hasn't done anything for black fighters. If you look at his past, all of the black fighters he has outside of AJ, they really haven't prospered under Eddie Hearn. So I gotta agree with you with that point.
And we gotta remember that Boo Andre, I'm gonna be honest, he was better than Canelo at one time. He was better than Canelo. It wasn't even a question. He was better than Canelo. A lot of people might say this is blasphemy because we know Canelo is #1 in the world. But at one time, Boo Andre at 54, he was better than Canelo. It wasn't a question.
Yeah.
It was no question. He was the best. And we seen him sign with Eddie Hearn. First, he ducked my guy, Jamel Charlo, Iron Man Charlo. And then from
that was crazy.
And then from there, he signed with Eddie Hearn. And never ever got a big fight. He got a fight when he was 100 years old. What they saying? What's that movie? Coming to America. He was 105 years old when he fought David.
He was 172. And BVO, you called that out a long time ago on the channel. You was like, yo, Boo Andre gonna keep fighting for Eddie Hearn. He gonna get paid because he was getting a couple dollars, and he gonna get smoked in his first big fight, and that's what happened.
I ain't gonna be.
You good now, Bernard?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Salute, brother Bernard.
Hey, good brothers. How y'all doing?
Peace, brother.
All right.
Controversy.
What's the controversy, man?
You know, you missed
BVO, your mic is bad. I don't know. Is it just me?
No, it's his mic.
Yeah,
it's
going in and out. I think it might be where he's standing at.
Sorry.
Or sometimes BBO. What are you trying to do it off your phone? If you have your phone trying to be on speakerphone, it'll be choppy like that. You feel me?
Hold on, let me try this. 1 second.
You might gotta cut your mic, your cam off, just so you can have.
I got my earphones in the car. We ready?
All right, let's get it.
You're good now. You sound perfect.
Perfect. See, that's why we need our sister in the house to let us know when we got some work to do. But why we got y'all both here, man? I gotta ask Brother first because he's been Mr. Controversy, man. This is usually a very quiet man, usually just dropping knowledge when he's talking. I see you've been talking like a fan, brother. But now what happened, man?
Man, what I do, man?
Yeah, man, we heard you, man. You talking like a fan, man. What you say? You trying to sell the belt? We heard you say.
Yeah. That's my guy, man. But me and him talk private a lot. Me and Bozy talk private a lot. But at the end of the day, we gonna call sense. That's what we gonna call sense. And I'm gonna ask you this before I say anything else. If you can get a 5-year, you Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City offer you a 5-year deal for $500 million, but you say I want $600 million, and they say no, we're gonna give you $500 million. Then they say we're gonna give you $550. Then they say we're gonna give you $575. You mean to tell me it make logical sense to go play for the San Diego Chargers for 6 years for $100 million? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Hey, you're not gonna give me that trick bag. You rough, man.
Answer the question.
I'm just asking a question. Which one made sense for Patrick Mahomes?
Hey, you know what I'm gonna say, brother? But no, I don't know.
All right, which one? Here you go. Which one are you gonna take?
I'm gonna go get the money, man, because I know what it's like.
So you're gonna take this. You're gonna take the 6 years at $575 million, right?
For sure.
So if that's the case, and they offered my man $1.75 million for 1 night of work, you mean to tell me he took $200,000 for 1 night of work?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense. And that makes sense. We just saying sense. We not talking about, I ain't saying nobody's scared of nobody. I ain't saying one man better than the other one. I just said sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
So,
you know what? That's why I don't like talking to y'all DC boys. Y'all too smart, man. You're too smart. You're gonna make me agree with you. I don't like that. I don't like that.
I just said sense. I didn't even put no names to it. I just said sense.
Yeah.
But
if that's starting controversy, then math is controversy. Every kid taking math in 1st through 12th grade, they taking a class called controversy disguised as math.
You wrong. You right. Hey, what they say on that James Brown movie? You wrong, James. You wrong.
Hey, you want us to take the motherfucker Chuck Berry joint. We gonna make you popular and make him rich. Chuck Berry said, "Now let's switch that around. Make him popular and make me rich."
Yeah. Hey, and that's the truth, man. That's the truth. But why is it Kai? Am I saying it wrong? Because D Free said I'm saying it wrong. I don't know. You can't trust Free's a Puerto Rican. Is it Kai? How do you say it?
It's Key. It's okay.
Key. Sorry. I'm an old school brother, but we've been talking about this boxing, and you said something in the chat while you were getting set up about Demetrius Andrade, and I was just wondering, and I like Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn, before he came from the UK, was a different guy than he is now. But what do you think about Boots signing with Eddie Hearn?
Well, first of all, thank you, BVO, for having me up here. Shout out to all the kings up here. And to William Old School and Melanin Queen. I see y'all. Thank you guys for y'all warm welcomes. Is my audio okay, you guys?
Good.
Okay.
Good to go.
Thank you. So, we talked about this a few weeks ago, Up and I, about when it first was announced. I felt like the rollout that he did for Boots was like, you could tell like he is throwing a lot behind Boots right now. He did this grand entry a few months ago for Boots once he was signed with Eddie Hearn. My biggest question was who is he going to fight over there? Because even though Eddie Hearn is getting a lot of these fighters to come up over there, I don't see anybody that's really going to make any noise for Boots, because Boots needs that name fight. He needs that name fighter behind his, on his resume, somebody that's going to catapult him. And Bud left, he said no. Spence ain't going. And so it appears that he may have to go to 154, but I'm with Boots Ennis. Try to clear out 147 first. Try to do as much as you can at 147, because with 154 heating up the way that it is, you don't want to get lost in the sauce or in the mix of things, because it's only gonna happen. It's only gonna happen happen again at 154 for him. I mean, if they're only offering Brian Norman Jr., which I disagree, I feel as though Brian Norman Jr. should have accepted the 1.7 offer. I do feel that way. But since so you go up, he goes up. Let's look at Jesus Ramos. Okay, what does that do for Boots? Maybe a Tim Tszyu if he'll fight him. I don't know. Like he's gonna get. I think he should just stay at 147, take his time, and I think actually Brian Norman Jr. and Boots will fight next year, spring or summer. That's what I'm betting on. I think them two gonna get it on next year. Honestly, I think that's gonna be each other's next fight after they clear up their mandatories right now.
Yeah, I ask you this, Brother Bernard, why is Brian Norman not fighting Jalil? I don't know if he's ready, but from what I heard Jalil gave him a case of the beats. Why is it not Jalil next?
Let me before I answer that question, I want to definitely speak on what the young lady said, because she was so on point. She was on point. Even if I don't agree, she was on point. if I'm looking at it from this point, Boots signed a multi-fight deal with guarantees in it, right? Everybody here, everybody here either had a job or has a job, correct? Have you ever cared? Have you ever cared what your employer wanted you to do every day, even if he had nothing for you to do, as long as that check cleared? He got guarantees. If I'm his father and my son is getting the fights per the dates, then I don't care who they put in front of me. Just give me my guaranteed money. I'm not gonna worry about that. In the words of the Outlaws, if you ain't in here for the cash, man, then what is your motherfucking purpose? I mean, at the
That's
end of the
true.
day,
That's true. That's
at
true.
the end of the day, if you fight and you get a guaranteed 3.5 million per fight, that's their problem to figure out who I'm gonna fight. And if they giving me guaranteed dates at which I'm gonna fight, then I don't care either way. The problem that we have, I'm gonna take it back to something that's real old. I'm probably the oldest person in the room. When I was young, I was doing my thing. Old dudes told me, don't be concerned about how you gonna get her and be chasing. Be concerned on how you get this money and let her chase you. I'm not gonna let my son chase nobody. Long as Eddie Hearns delivers the one thing we agreed on, and the only line in the contract that matters, if he agrees on the dates and the guaranteed money, I don't care who he puts in there. That's his problem to figure out who I'm gonna fight. If he tried to make a fight and he can't make it, that means them dudes don't want to fight. I think we getting this backwards. If Top Rank wanted to fight with Boots that much, and Eddie Hearns was willing to go 1.75, then they should have put up the other 250,000 or 300, 400,000, because that would have made the fight. It ain't Boots' place to give up no money. The only legacy that you can count on at the end of the day is the legacy you leave behind for your future seed. And that can only come through money. I ain't never seen nobody take one of them belts to a pawn shop and get $5 million for it. It's only worth $5 million when you get in the ring.
Now, if anybody ever seen Billy, you know what Bernard just said? He just said, you sure they can't eat no books, man. He just said that on here.
Yeah, when you look at the fights, in every weight class, the top 4 guys holding a belt are the top 4 guys in the weight class. Everything else is your opinion. If somebody's better, if somebody's worse, those are the top 4. Boots number 1, Stanionis number 2, Barrios number 3, Brian Norman, the newest champion, he number 4. If you're looking at it from the opponent's side, being on the other side, you're gonna first go after the low-hanging fruit to secure a belt. Then you're gonna look at who I've been in the ring with. When you look at all of those situations, you're gonna pick the best situation for you. We've been in the ring with Brian Norman. Brian Norman dad put it on Instagram when we sparred. I didn't care about that, and Jaleel got at him. And I don't talk bad about Brian because Brian is a dog. But at the end of the day, you got to think what's the best thing for you. If Top Rank would have thought that fight was sweet and we could get Jaleel, if we didn't choose Boots, or Boots and us couldn't agree, Top Rank easily sent Eddie Hearns an offer. I said personally, this fight would have been about the belt. So if Brian had to get 200,000 and all they was willing to pay was 200, we would have took it for free because we would have left with the belt. And then if they want a rematch, we get the lion's share. Same thing I said to Brian's father. If you really think you can beat Boots that good, then beat him, but get it in a contract where you must have a rematch within 6 months and you get the lion's share. If I feel that way, that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, at the end of the day, we brought our kids in this business to leave this business as self-made millionaires. Not nobody with a belt. That belt don't get you paid unless you put it in the ring and make it where it work. Boots gonna get his regardless. Whoever he fight, he got guaranteed stuff. Slim gonna get his regardless. Eddie Hearns tried to make the fight. When he couldn't make the fight, Eddie Hearns went on the purse bid. People got to understand. I was saying to say he lost the purse bid. He wasn't paying attention. You bid what you want to bid on the fight. The next person bid what he want to bid, and then they tell you who won the purse bid. This ain't no auction house. 25, 25, 30, 35, 35, 30, 40, 40, 45. Sold. Nah, this ain't that. You put your bid in. You know, and we got to start looking for the reality of stuff. Them dudes at 47, whether it be Stanionis, whether it be Barrios, they on the PBC side. PBC might want to play with their basketball by themselves. They don't want to play with nobody else. They ain't come out here for 5-on-5. They came out here for 1-on-1. The man trying to do everything he can to get a unification. He trying everything he can to get undisputed. But sometimes it just ain't going to happen. And if it ain't, pick up the money at whatever you can get it, if that's 47 or 54. At the end of the day, just get rich.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'll say I'll ask you this: when you look at okay, when you look at boxing now, Kai? So I keep saying it wrong. I'm sorry.
You can just call me
What do you?
Kiki.
Okay, I'll say Kiki. Sorry. You know, I was raised by my grandparents. You know, I talk like them too. But let me ask you this: so, Kiki, when you see what's going on in boxing, what would you say? Do you feel like it's turning into a soap opera now, or are you like the place that it's going?
I like the place that it's going. We need this type of dramatics because I think last time I checked, boxing in America was ranked like what 14 or so, 13 or so.
Mhm.
It's not even in the top 10. And when you have Brian Norman Jr. and Boots going at it like that, I knew the fight wasn't going to happen when it was all on social media because that's not how negotiations tend to work. But I knew that that's coming down the line. So I like the dramatics. I like what I think that everybody should have a Rolly type of attitude. Whether you know he gonna get beat up or not, we need those dramatics to push the sport forward. Now, what I don't like is clout chasing. I don't like the clout chasing when these fighters know that they have fights and everything lined up, and then when they're free, they're quiet as a church mouse. But I love it though because we need the sport to go back up to the top because this is one of my favorite sports.
And I'll ask you this as well. Do you think with I hate to bring his name up, but with Ryan Garcia messing up the bag, we gotta scramble to find another superstar? Because I think if you look at Ryan's trajectory, he was about to be the one. He was going to be the one. He had the Gatorade deal. He was on ESPN. I think we kind of like in trying to figure out who was going to be that next big star. And I think with Ryan out of the way, I'm not sure who it could be. Who do you think?
Well,
Who do you think that next big?
Well, I've said this before, probably a couple months ago, that a lot of people, what a lot of people don't know is that Ryan Garcia, to be technically honest with you, a lot of people behind the scenes was betting on Ryan Garcia to upset Tank. That was like their last bit of hope, that push. You know what I'm saying? Because he's fast, he has this, he has that. He just don't know how to put it all together. But a lot of people behind the scenes was really banking on that. And then when he lost, they tried to repackage him because it's really about having that next Hispanic star. Canelo, I like Canelo, but Canelo, you know, he about to, I mean, we don't have to know that he's about to be out of there in a couple years, you know? And they need that next Hispanic star, you know what I'm saying, to go with that balance. I mean, we saw it with Floyd, we saw it with Duran, we saw it with, you know, just everybody. We had Miguel Cotto. I mean, like we had so many Black and Hispanic stars battling it out for so long. And now we really don't have that. And so the only Hispanic star, to be honest with y'all, I was thinking possibly, but I don't know if he's going to get past Shakur Stevenson. I could see them trying to do something with William Zepeda. I thought that it could have been Virgil Ortiz, but Virgil had a few health scares in the past. So now he's got to get his footing back. And his last fight didn't really help like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, he lost.
Virgil could have definitely be up there. T.O. be tripping too much. I don't have any faith in
Oh,
T.O. I don't. T.O.
Good
is
job.
irritating. I have no faith in T.O. If we get to the big
so
boys, like we get to
Good job.
154 and like 168, I don't see why they don't put a lot of stock behind David Morrell. And I don't know why the push isn't behind David Benavidez right now. Like you can push them two up there. But as far as like the lower weight class, I feel like Ryan got to build himself back up. He's done a lot and said too much. But I don't know. I would say Virgil, that like they could put some stock behind him at least. I don't know.
I mean, the reason I say that, and I'll ask you to piggyback after I say this one. There's a young guy out there named Emiliano Vargas who I think can do it. Because not only does boxing, and I'm not going to be politically correct because I don't know, I got to do that all day. But at the end of the day, you need a white Mexican.
BVO, you went out.
I guess YouTube didn't like like
Yeah,
that.
they shut him out early.
Somebody called him. D Free, well, go ahead, D Free. This y'all show.
No, no, I was gonna say, Bernard, can you piggyback off of what Key said?
I like once again, I think she's spot on with a lot of stuff. I think the people who control dollars, they allow themselves to be led by people who control fighters. When I say that, fans dictate what we're gonna get, how we're gonna get it, and when we're gonna get it. We a lot of times ask black fighters to be Superman from day one, but we don't expect nobody else to be Superman from day one. If you look, just take some of the records of young stars when we say whatever they are, white, Latino, black, we got to do the hardest job to get a tenth of what they get a credit for. And I don't blame nobody but the fans. We got to look at this. When Pacquiao fought Mayweather, we had a lot of fans going for Mayweather, but we didn't have all the black fans going for Mayweather. When they know they can keep doing that to us, we won't even get behind a young black fighter until he already reached stardom. One thing I tell you about white media, they are not biased. Let me be clear about that. They go behind whoever brings the money in. And we have shown over and over again, we don't get behind ours until they reach championship. Look at how Ryan Garcia probably was a pro for less than a year, had 1 million fans. I'm not going to say he didn't generate the next 2 million, but the first 1 million fans, look how many hands was behind him. Once again, the machine was behind him because the machine said, hey, that's what they like. Ryan ain't never won a world title. Ryan ain't never beat nobody up of any consequence. But we got behind him like he was the world monster. When it came to Gervonta Davis, how could you pick or even think he was going to beat Tank basing on their careers? Tank beat Pedraza. Tank beat a lot of quality fighters. This boy ain't beat one. And y'all say he going to beat Tank. His stardom ended with a shot to the body. When Tank put him down with a body shot, it was a wrap.
It was a wrap.
It was a wrap. Anybody else, they not going to try and rebuild you, remold you, rebrand you. You're just done.
Cool.
But once again, we get behind stuff, and that's in everything we do. I look at different music artists. I'm a fan of Pink. Pink, I'm a fan of. But when Pink didn't do good the first go around, they gave her a black song, rebranded her as There You Go, Look In, Pitiful. Soon as that crossed over, she had a fan base, she went right back to where she wanted to start, and they did another song yet. Because we gave her a platform, we put her on a pedestal, and then right after that, she went back to where she wanted to go. I'm not mad at the people who do it. I'm mad at the people who constantly get it done to them and always complaining about, look how they do. These boys ain't fools. These promoters ain't fools. Just like they got a Nielsen system to tell you what TV shows should stay on TV, they also use that same system to say who should be fighting and when they can make the maximum dollars out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm just looking at the business.
Mr.
Yes,
Hackett, have you seen with your son? Have they tried to like have you seen with promoters or anything? And of course you can dispel as much as you want, but where they've tried to, do you think, protect other fighters from your son, or try to, dissuade you guys from fighting certain fights that you all want? Have you witnessed that like firsthand?
Boots and Brian Norman, they not fighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so he really? Oh, okay, you're right. No, they're not.
Boots and Brian Norman not fighting, right?
No.
We came on various situations saying we will take that because they said they wanted to fight somebody in the top 15. We in the top 15. Then they said they wanted to fight name recognition. I told them the other day, the guy you fighting don't got a bigger name than Jaleel. Both of y'all together don't got a bigger name than Jaleel. When they introduced Jaleel, they said Jaleel Major Hackett, WBC Youth Champion, WBA Continental Champion. When they introduced Brian Norman, they got to say WBO Champion. They can't introduce him no overweight because nobody know him. If the person he fighting, they can't do it. They know nobody know him. So if he didn't fight Jaleel, and I know Brian a dog, that means Top Rank said, we are not going that way because you'll be a champion on Friday and you'll be an old ex-champion by Sunday at midnight.
Mm.
And it ain't just them. A lot of them. I mean, if our promoter we got now, Eddie Hearns, if Mayweather Promotions, Leonard Ellaby, if they told you how many people they offered the fights for Jaleel, and they told us no. The fighter didn't say no. His team said no. We tried to fight Brian Norman when Jaleel had 4 fights. Brian Norman father said, y'all been trying to get us for a while. They said no. And we talking about dudes that got 20 fights. My son had 4. I mean, this ain't nothing I'm making up. This is what they said themselves. Like I said, Brian Norman father was on the Rise podcast. This is probably a year ago. And he said, when I sparred with Jaleel, the first time, he humbled my son. When we sparred the second time, when we knew we had to work harder, he said, we realized after that, we had to work even harder. This is what they said. My son hadn't even turned pro yet. My son been sparking shit since he was 14, 15. He been sparking shit. It ain't a coincidence that Bozy and J-Rock and all these other fighters who've been at the top of the game, Jared Hurd, they say Slim spark shit. I just look at it like that.
It. He's a really good fighter. When I seen him on the Boots undercard just a few weeks ago, I said Jaleel is special. We talked about him on our show the next day, and we were just raving about him. Like, he did excellent.
And we asked for that fight, be honest with you. And I got to side with Eddie Hearns. Eddie Hearns and his team, they said, do you really want a big splash, or do you want us to give you something just to make your entrance? My son said, I want a big splash, and I want it for a belt if you can make it happen. So Eddie made it happen. We didn't just fight anybody. We fought the guy who just fought for Conor Ben. Went the whole distance with Conor Ben. And that's the next guy that we fight. That was his next fight. You tell any other prospect you want to name when you talk about potential stars, if they coming off an 8-rounder, 1 8-rounder at that, your very next fight got to be Pete Dobson in a 10-rounder. Ain't not one of them going to do it. But they say they're guy special. I've been saying this since my son turned pro. He's the best prospect of his era. And you can't find not one soundbite where a prospect, his manager, his coach said otherwise. You can't find one. Because they know what the deal is. These kids been fighting each other since the amateurs. They know what the deal is. Like, Shorty's just different.
But sorry about that. Yeah, I'm having some Michelle Obama Wi-Fi issues. I don't know what's going on. But I wanted to ask you guys about, especially now that you were talking about Jaleel. I know you got plans for him instead. 47. You were saying you didn't, let's say, want him to fight anybody not in his generation. Has that changed?
Nah, for what? I mean, if he fight Earl, Bud, Boots, those guys in a generation ahead of him, if he win, what did it do? Because those guys are cemented, their legacy is cemented. If he lose, what did it do to raise their stock? Because he's a young prospect. And now they want to call him a contender. That's fine. He in the top 20. But at the end of the day, we're not going to have trilogies, long drawn-out battles with them dudes. We're going to have long drawn-out battles with the Brian Normans, the Xander Zayas, those type of dudes. The best dudes that we could possibly fight from the generation that might be going on now will be Orion, a Shakur, a Devin Haney, a Teofimo, because those guys will come up to the weight class if he hasn't moved on. So I'm the guy that focuses on what's in front of me, not what's in front of the car that's in front of the car that's in front of me.
I mean, and the reason I say that, and to go back to what I was saying, Kiki, which was when you talk about having a big star, we understand that Tank does really well. He makes great events. But when we look at Canelo does no less than 500,000, even when he fighting these guys, because I think when you look at his resume, it's going to age a lot better, because you got to remember, Jaime Mugia was beating people to death, beat him up. Now he about to go in there with Edgar. I don't know about that, but he going to beat Edgar up, and you know Edgar was knocking people out. So I think Canelo, his resume is going to age well, so I'm just trying to figure out who's going to be that guy to sit in that De La Hoya seat, sit in that Roberto Duran seat, because that's very, very important. Whenever you put, some type of Spanish with black or black versus anything, it's the biggest thing in the world. So I'm just kind of a little bit nervous on what we're going to do, because I think Emiliano Vargas and Abdullah Mason is going to be a big fight someday. I think it's gonna be a big fight. What you guys
Yeah,
think
I
about
agree.
somebody like, because Emiliano, I mean, he looked like he the truth. He looked like he the truth. You know, he calling
Yeah, he
Devin
couldn't
Haney out,
trust.
talking about he gonna get knocked up by a guy with 10 fights. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
you
was crazy.
guys think Emiliano Vargas might be that next big star? What do you guys think?
Spanish guy for sure. He definitely.
I mean, why are we limiting it? Why are we crucifying boxing by limiting it? When you talk about the golden ages of boxing, we had 10, 15, 20 stars. When you talk about this age of boxing, if you limit it to one, then you're really limiting it. When you look at the Roy Jones era, when you look at James Toney, when you look at Oscar, those guys had multiple people that could beat a man in multiple weight classes. So they fought for that pound for pound situation. Now, if we only got one guy and that one star, we make him the pound for pound, but then we turn around and say he didn't have that career defining fight. We gotta have multiple stars, man. It got to. The stars only work good when we have at least 10 or 12 stars.
That's a good point, brother.
Yeah, I agree with that, but the thing is, brother, I just don't see when I go to the gyms, I don't see the next young guys coming up like they was. The pipeline's not full. That's
yes,
my only
it
thing.
is.
The pipeline is not.
Yes, it is. What do you think? Yeah, what you think about the young guys that are there now? Vito Milnicki, you got Xander Zayas, you got my son Jaleel, you got Brian Norman Jr., you got the young man you just talked about. Yeah, you got Abdullah Mason. You got a bunch of potential young stars.
I'll say this, and you my brother, so you know I'm gonna be just honest in this. Xander Zayas has been created because if I look at my favorite fighter, Jamel Charlo, he would beat the life out of him.
Who would beat up Jamel Charlo? Who would beat up Jamel Charlo?
No, I'm saying I think that Jamel Charlo would beat the life out of Xander.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, and I'm gonna say I'm asking you because you're right. So that doesn't put more credence to what I said in your era. He's not in his era. He's not. So why would I want that fight to take place? And you all aren't even in the same era. It won't even make financial maximum payday for you. So if you stick to your era, you can build the best fights. All of these fighters, I'm gonna be honest with you. All of these young fighters, if they have one of the top 4 or 5 promoters, they're all being built. They're being built for the next big fight. Boxing, the machine called boxing, is like if you're a Star Trek fan, the Borg. It'll make one mistake, but then when it assimilates itself, it'll never make that mistake again. Boxing will never make the mistake of creating a Floyd Mayweather because it was only one. They're going to go back. Boxing learned from its mistakes. It's going to go back to when we had the 4 kings. Duran, Hagler, Leonard, Hearns. All 4 of them were stars, and they all had losses to each other because that's the way boxing does the best. Do you take one night for 2 guys where they get 100 million, or do you take 4 nights where 4 guys can get 100 million 4 times because they can fight each other? That's how you build. I don't want none of these fight. These fighters can have coaches, and me and their fathers can be cool. You can say what you want to say about mine, and if they get 1 million clicks on yours, I'm jumping right on there and say, hey, I hope you gain. I hope you gain. Mine gonna scratch. So I'm gonna put the onus back on you. Mine gonna scratch. I know what he's gonna do. And we gotta go back to them days. Do you remember when if you said something about a fighter, that fighter and you was gonna have some type of issue when the fighters met face to face? Now they wait for the cameras, then they argue. You're not gonna say nothing.
You couldn't say Oscar's name. That's a good point. You couldn't say Roy or Oscar's name. I remember. You remember when Roy would give his phone number out on the live telecast?
Yes. Once again, Pete Dobson, he did a great job talking trash. He was motivating the fight, but he didn't know Jaleel. Ask anybody on our team or in our city. I said, Jaleel, if you get up there for that face off and you smack that man, you're gonna have a problem. Because Jaleel really is, if you wolf, you better be able to bite. A lot of these dudes that's boxing, a lot of them suckers with just great set of skills. When they know it's not, he want to box me, I box him. But when you say, I want to fight you, he be like, nah, let's put that off. because he taking this serious. What you taking for?
Hey, Keith, I gotta ask you this. This is a random question, but what made you put Harley Quinn as your avatar today? I know you say you get inspired by things. What made you pick Harley Quinn?
Because I heard that they showcased the Joker and Harley's movie. You know, the Joker has a new movie coming out in a few weeks, and they showcased it at the film festival yesterday. And there was an 11-minute round of applause. That's how good it is. So I'm hoping that it lives up to lives up to everything that I'm hearing, the rave reviews that I'm hearing right now. So I'm like, let me go ahead and put my girl out. Yeah, I heard it was really good.
The previews look fire.
Unless they're gonna dig up Heath Ledger, I think it's a wrap for the Joker.
Yeah, that is true. That is a hard road to follow.
Yeah, that is. It is.
I think it's over. But back to boxing. When you talk about Jaleel, are you going to keep him on a slower pace, or are you going to try to push him to be a champion? Because I know you all about what makes sense. Because I've been saying, his skills say he should be a champion. He should go try to be a champion. But how do you think he's going to go with it?
Once again, I think if you look at the careers of all the other young prospects, they might have more fights than Jaleel, but Jaleel, in forms of competition and where he's going to, he's leaps and bounds ahead of him. Jaleel got 9 fights. He fought, I want to say, for four 4-rounders. He fought 2 6s, and then he went 8 and 10. And that wasn't his choosing. That wasn't his choosing. And like I said, we've been offered several guys, and I don't put them on display, but if you know any of the promoters or behind the scenes, they'll tell you we got offered several guys that were already top 25s, and them dudes turned it down. My son don't duck no smoke, but I'm gonna be honest about it. I think that you have to let what's in place run its course first, because there's already plans for that. Boots is going to get to unify, whether it's at 47 or 54, it's going to get to happen. But when you look at the next generation, boxing not going to push nobody ahead of what's there. You're not going to see Abdullah Mason in the next 12 months fight Teofimo Lopez. Don't make sense. It got to make sense at the end of the day. If my son get a title shot, and yes, I said we would have took the Brian Norman at no money. But when you start looking at the reality of it, if they give my son a title shot based on where he is now against Brian Norman, that fight in total is not worth $500,000 to no promoter. They're not gonna pay both of them more than $500,000 a piece. And I'm talking about $500,000 collectively. They're not. So why does that fight make sense when we'll take it? But if they say if Brian Norman can do his part, Jaleel can do his part, they only 23 and 21. At 25 and 23, we both might be asking for $5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. we gotta stop trying to jump the cart so fast that we ruin situations. If Jaleel clean out his division and all the prospects, and he do it in the next 24 months, at 23 years old, who does he have to fight? Nobody, because the older guys gonna be done retired. The younger guys, he already cleaned them up, and the babies ain't ready. So what did he do?
Yeah.
Essentially, he destroyed his own career. Andre Ward, one of the best fighters that ever fought, but financially, the Super 6 ruined his career. Financially, once he cleaned it out, what else was left? What, I'm gonna give you $10 million to fight Carl Froch again? That's crazy.
Man, that was a good fight. That's a fight. I was going for Froch. But man, Andre Ward pulled that out on him, man. That was a great fight. But let me ask you this.
Wasn't worth it.
Go ahead.
It wasn't financially worth it. Without the Super 6, they would have both made $30 million.
Oh, that's a fact.
Okay.
That's a fact. But I'll ask you this, Chicky. So right now, who are you watching? I heard you speak about two-time lineal champion Tio. Who are you looking for coming up? Because on here we support Tio and Jaleel. We support all the young guys.
There's no way.
Who are you looking for?
You know what? I'm really excited to see Danny Garcia's return next week. I think I'm like I represent 1% of the boxing population that's excited to see Danny.
I'm with you.
I like Danny Garcia, man. I always like Danny Garcia. I'm excited for another fight that I'm excited to see is how Keyshawn performs in Norfolk, Virginia, headlining his own card that was announced today. I'm excited to see that against Lemos. That's a tough opponent. I would love. I can't wait to see the Fury and Usyk fight rematch part 2. I can't wait to see who Jaleel Hackett gets in the ring with because I've been enjoying his past couple fights. I've been watching them. And to be honest with you, I want to see Brian Norman Jr. and Boots Ennis in their next fights. I want to see what Brian does to his opponent and what Boots does to Karen. Because remember, Karen ran for that last fight. He did not want no smoke with Boots, right? He did not want no. I think he ran.
He didn't run. He jogged.
He ran. So I'm curious to see if Boots know now how to, you know what I'm saying, like to really take him up out of there and make an even bigger fight for that when them two fight. So those are like my most anticipated fights.
I don't want to see Karen again. I don't.
You know what I say, Brother Bernard. When I watch a Son fight, I gotta give you credit. I like that Mexican style. I like that he coming forward. I don't like it when he be boxing. I like when he coming forward, man. You think we gonna see more of that, or we gonna still see him try to box? Because I like him coming forward.
Nah, I think as he matures as a fighter, you will see boxer puncher. In the amateurs, if you know any of the amateurs, he was cool with. If you know Holly Madero's, his dad Dago and them, they used to call Jalil the Black Mexican because Jalil just want to stand there and bang with you. But as you go further in this game, you say that everybody is a quality guy. At some point, you have to put something in front of you. You can't just keep running into bullets. You got to put a shield in front of you. So he's going to always be true to himself. And if he gets you hurt, he's going to try and get you out of there. But it always has to be tempered with logic.
Yeah, I'll say this. Hey, Free, block that person in there, please, for me, Brother Free. Can y'all hear me? No.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, Free, block that person for me. And I say that because I think too many times, I think a lot of the guys grew up watching Floyd. Hold on, hey, I think a lot of the guys grew up watching Floyd, and I'll tell you this, I think it's taken away from us seeing more of the downhill Mexican style fight, because that's, to me, that's the sweet science right there. Is when cats is coming forward, knocking people out. What do you prefer as a trainer? Do you prefer the slick style, or do you like the come forward style?
I like the style that best suits that individual fighter. As a great coach is one who can adapt to bring the best out of each individual. Something that might have worked for Roy may not work for somebody else. Something that works for Jaleel may not work for somebody else. As a coach, your job is to get the best out of that fighter's ability. Every fighter in the top 25 is a great fighter in their own respect. And when you think about, fights, you got to think about in the amateurs, a guy that can throw a lot of punches, he can win 90% of the time. A guy that's more tactical, he may not. But then when you make them pros, that tactical guy may have the complete upper hand. A kid that could punch might not have won a lot of amateur fights, but he gets to the pros, he flatlining stuff. So it depends on what your guy has. I think too many times we get coaches with no experience and they on the job training with these young fighters and don't want to bring in an experienced coach. I grew up around experienced coaches. I learned from coaches. I went through the amateurs. Look how many coaches now you see that never took a kid through the amateurs, but they call themselves pro coaches. You got to do every step of this. You ain't never seen a dude get drafted in the top 5 slots in football and he never picked up a football because it don't make sense. At some point, you got to know the science of the game. I ain't asking a coach to be undefeated. I ain't asking to be a world champion. I ain't even saying he got to have the best winning record, but he do have to have some background on the sport he's trying to teach, like sports science. Would you let me read a book about how to operate on the heart and then let me do your heart transplant?
No, for sure, no.
So why would you let a guy who read Boxing for Dummies be a coach for your son?
Excellent point.
I mean, I think the hard thing is these guys are more talented than ever. And what you see a lot more than you probably didn't always see, you see a lot of natural talent because these kids, like I'm sure everybody in every city has drove by the basketball courts, the parks, they're empty. So when you get a kid that really want to play a sport, they're gonna be something terrific at it. Because they got people talking about Abdullah Mason, but his little brother, I mean.
Oh yeah, shout out the truth.
Yeah,
he make Abdullah look like where's that power from Abdullah? We haven't seen that kind of power like his little brother. I mean, he flatlining people, man.
Yeah, but
I don't know how he's doing it.
It's our fault. It's our fault. You just made a point about the basketball courts empty. If you think about sports now, who do you see playing sports? Not just boxing. Who do you see playing sports? Kids whose parents can afford to put them at AAU. Kids whose parents can afford to go to the batting cage. Kids whose parents look at boxing gyms. You got boxing gyms charging $200 a month. What kid from the inner city parents can afford $200 a month for you to box in hopes that you become great? So we got to go back to blaming ourselves because you become the fan of a kid who you watched on the AAU circuit. You don't understand that kid, he a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, but he didn't even start on his high school team. But his parents could afford for him to go to camps. They can afford to do that. So he not good. He purchased the ability to be where he at.
That's funny you say that, and I'll ask you this before I let my man Free take over. Kiki, when you see, boxing, basketball become a suburban sports, does that kind of think change the game of what we're seeing? Because what Brother Bernard said is very true. A lot of the I live in the suburb. That's who playing. You don't see little Ray or little Mark going on more. They too busy scamming, wearing push-ices in 90-degree weather. We don't really see them, playing anymore. You think that's bad for the sport, Kiki? What you think?
What for? That it's becoming suburban?
Yeah, that it's becoming a suburban sport for only people whose family can afford it.
Yes, I do, and that's why I think that a tide has to change in that respect, in that regard. I think that it's going to be up to boxers that have the means to start opening up their own gyms or boxing camps or something like that. I forgot which one. I know Derek James does it. I know Derek James is really heavy in it in Texas. I know Canelo has a few things in Mexico. It's very scattered though. I know New York is heavy with it. I know it's a few people in New York. Washington D.C. I've heard of some good deeds that the Russell brothers have done when it comes to the community in boxing. So they're out there. We just need more. I think Georgia is going to be like the next Mecca. Chicago, we got a few gyms, and we also have Floyd Mayweather, former trainer by the name of Nathan Jones. He's out of the city. So we have him, and there's a couple of other gyms out there, but maybe even scholarships or grants or something. You know what I'm saying? Some of that nature. I don't know. But I agree with Greg Hackett on that as well. I mean, I'm sorry, Bernard Hackett on that as well.
Man, I love it. I'll tell you why I love it. Because my son came up in the trenches. He came up in the trenches where you had to be tough to get through school days. So if all these suburbites is boxing, man, you can put a wolf's coat on a sheep, but at the end of the day, he's still a sheep. But if you got a real wolf walking through there, he gonna bite. So it don't take much. My son get to be James Toney. Everybody's scared of that. They had natural fear of James Toney because he was smacking people. He was a wolf surrounded by sheep.
Your son talk like him?
No,
Hey,
don't do
he don't.
that.
Let me tell you something. James Tony backed up everything he said. I've
He
been
had a
in
nasty
the
mouth too,
gym.
man.
I've been in the gym with James Tony. I've been in there with James back in the day. And James said, all y'all get your stuff on, and I'm gonna spar all y'all. Y'all gonna beat my ass today, but you gotta guarantee to come back till I fight. Because I'm gonna beat the hell out of y'all in a week. And in a week's time, he beat the hell out of everybody in the gym. So once again, it don't matter if you're a dog old, it don't matter if you're a dog lazy. If he been in that pit and he's a real pit dog, he always gonna kill a porch poodle.
I have a question, Mr. Hackett.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think, from your experience, do you think that who would you rather train? Someone from the trenches or someone from the suburbs?
Trenches.
Why is that?
Because I'm gonna tell you like this. A very good friend of mine, older white gentleman. Me and him always talk. We talk real, and he feel like he can tell me what he got to say the way he got to say it because there's no offense taken. He said there's only 3 types of people in this world: poor, middle class, and rich. Only 2 types of those people have the same conversation. I said, yeah, the middle class and the rich. He said, you're absolutely wrong. I said, who? He said, the poor and the rich. The middle class, which is suburbia, that's middle class. They are doing well enough not to do bad, but doing bad enough not to ever do good. They live in purgatory. So their kids, they really don't have to work for nothing, and they get kind of everything handed to them. But if you look at the top people, if you look at the Hilton family, they made Paris Hilton work because you're going to have to take over this dynasty one day. If you look at the poorest people, they get behind their kid. Look at every youth football field. Guess who got the most fans? The youngest babies, because mama say, boy, you gonna get mama a new house. You gonna get mama out the ghetto. And she gonna put everything behind him so that he can do that. But that middle class, guess what they say? Boy, when you get 18, you're gonna see what the real world is like. So you had a baby just to get him to 18. So
Well,
anytime
I gotta ask you this.
I'm gonna get the trench kid.
I'm gonna ask you this before you finish, because I feel what you're saying, but I think you gotta remember, I'm from the projects, and I had my father. A lot of these guys don't have a father. They just.
I ain't gonna do that, BVO. I ain't gonna do that, BVO. I'm not gonna do that.
No.
I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm not gonna let you do that.
Let me finish. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. It's me, the black man. I'm not gonna say nothing crazy. What I'm saying is, sometimes I could be wrong, but you can almost hear the woman in some of these young guys from the trenches.
Cut it out.
Like men.
I said I wasn't gonna let you do that. Let me tell you why I'm not gonna let you do that. Because my mother and grandmother, they primarily raised me. My stepdad did, good, great things. I never called my stepdad, but I wanted to say that way because my real father wasn't shit. I want to tell you, them was the strongest 2 men I knew. My mother and my grandmother was the strongest 2 men I knew. My grandmother, when I got locked up on my Fed charge, I came home on bond. My grandmother said, if you think about doing anything but going to prison, I disown you. Real nigga shit. Let me tell you something. Them trench mothers is some of the realest niggas you're gonna ever come in contact with. I had trench mothers on my case as co-defendants. And guess what? They held more stronger than any dude. Dudes turned us in. So when it come to that, see, because I'm one of them dudes that don't subscribe to that. I'm a high value man. And if this woman got kids, ain't no value in me being a stepdaddy. You got to be crazy. I'm not downgrading them women. Because when I was in the trenches as a young man, I made more money messing with women in the trenches than I ever made messing with dudes in the trenches.
That's a fact. But this is what I'm saying, brother. What I'm saying. You got a point. But that's a special kind of woman. Salute to my grandmother and my mother. My grandmother was her birthday this past Monday. And she was tough. But I don't think I'm saying the newer generation, these ain't the same grandmas. These ain't the same Granny G's or mamas that we grew up with. They're not the same. They're not the same.
I'll make a bet with you. Go to the worst neighborhood as close to where you live, the absolute worst. And they got the 8, 9, and 10-year-olds out there playing full court basketball. I want you to go out there and slap the shit out of all 10 of them and watch the first person be on your ass. They mamas. On your ass.
Yep.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I like how Brother Bernard did that.
Then I want you to go to your suburban neighborhood, slap the shit out the same age group, 10 kids, and watch the first person be on your ass is the police. They mamas or they daddies ain't coming outside. Because you could have a gun. Yeah, like I said, you mess with them trench mamas to this day. Let me tell you something. A mama, no matter what mama she is, whether she is an animal, whether she is a human, if you fuck with her cubs, she gonna get in your ass. That's a true fact. A father, 9 out of 10 of these dudes make excuses. You don't hear the mother saying, I did my best and I can't feed you this week. But you hear these dudes saying, man, I did my best. I bought her some Jordans last week. I ain't really got no money and she pressing me for money. Why daddy get a pass to be a bum, but mama don't get a pass to feed her kids? Come on, champ. The real men is women. I'm keeping a book with you. The real men is women.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, Brother Bernard. I feel what you're saying about the matriarchy. I get it, but when I think about people like my grandfather, great grandfather, man, them brothers put it all on the line. I can honestly say, I was reading this about my great grandfather. Right, the man came to Cleveland area from Wynn, Arkansas, without nothing. Had 12 kids, had 4 houses, never went to school. I just think you got to get back to that.
Let me ask you this. Did him and your grandma stay together basically their whole life?
Just about.
Okay. Just about. When you ask your grandfather, hey, granddad, what made you a high value man? Who the first person he gonna say?
He gonna say his woman.
Okay, so your grandmama made him a high value man, right?
Right. Okay, I see what you're saying. I like how you did that.
So once again, if you have a household where the father's being a real father, then you got a mother being a real mother. That nigga ain't cooking every day. That nigga ain't washing stinky ass socks. That nigga ain't doing homework. That nigga going out and providing for the kid, and he's gonna take him to practice. But don't misspell, because you don't see mama at practice, that she ain't out here busting her ass at a second job so that he can go coach. She ain't out here making dinner so that when they get home it's done. She ain't on the PTA so that pops can't do it. Let me tell you something. The reason they created a positive and a negative, a yin and a yang, because when you put them together, you have perfection. When you're missing one or the other, you have imperfection. So we got to get away from that thinking, he did this, he did that. Let me give you some real shit. My wife about to retire. When my wife retires, and the only reason she continued to work, because she said, I know where y'all trying to get to, and I got to make sure that I keep my job so we can use my health coverage. My job offers it, but her job has a better health coverage. So, because you don't see her at practice, can you say, man, the father doing everything? Nigga, she provided health coverage.
You're right.
Come on, brother. Don't get caught up in seeing the nigga that's serving hand to hand and thinking he the man. Nah, it's the nigga that's giving him the work.
That's a good point. That's a good point, because you know, a great woman can help you become a great man.
Man, a great woman made kingdoms possible. A great woman made kingdoms possible. Because if men didn't have that great woman, he's not striving to get a kingdom. All I need is a house. He built the kingdom for her. Remember that. Check it out. If you think I'm bullshitting, he built the kingdom for her. He didn't build it for himself because he had no desire for a kingdom without her. When you ask a couple that been together 30, 40, 50 years, who is the love of his life? He's going to say his wife. Who are the people he loves? He's going to say his children. Because I built with her. I gave to them.
Yeah. Hey, you're right, man. You got me today. Go ahead, Free. Go ahead, brother Free. Okay, you got me today. I can't say nothing about that.
No, I agree with everything he said, because I grew up that way. My father, he worked, but my mother also worked. My mother was working while I was in school. When I came home, she was in the house cooking. My father was away in the service, but my mother still worked while he was in service. She worked for Bell Atlantic. And every day while I was at school, I thought my mother never had a job. I thought my mother stayed at home the whole time. She worked while we was in school. And then after my father passed, she had a daycare. She was like, well, I can't be out of the house, so I'm just gonna have a daycare. She built her daycare starting off with 2 kids, ended up having 15 kids. My mother ended up buying a $1.5 million house off of a daycare. My mother worked every single day of my childhood, and I never knew it until I got older. My mother, your mother is going to be the one that's going to push you. Your father, like he said, your father, he will say, okay, hey, you know you ain't supposed to be doing that or whatever, whatever. But if you look at almost every household, usually the disciplinary is the mother. The father's not usually the disciplinary. It's usually the mother. The mother is going to make sure you do what you're supposed to do. She ain't taking none of that lip for nothing. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
when it
that's
comes to
real.
a father waits till he gets fed up and he tired of hearing it
Yeah.
And then
from
he
his
snapped.
wife.
Then he
Tired of
snapped.
hearing it from his
Yeah.
wife, and
Yep.
then he go do something.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother always pushed me, and my stepfather, like you said, I had a stepfather. After my father passed, my mother got remarried, and I had a stepfather. My stepfather always told me, "You never settle for anything. You're better than what you taking right now. I know you. I've watched you growing up. Your mother did a great job with you. You never settle for anything." My mother made sure. My mother made sure that we got good grades every day. Every day she would sit, and after she did with her daycare, first thing we had to do before we could even go and think about going outside, we had to do our homework. And she would check over our homework, make sure it's done. If it's not done, we got to get it done correct. Then the next thing we had to do was go to clean the house. Then we can go outside if it's still light outside. Then we can go outside. But your mother always still they was the one that put that foundation down of how you gonna grow up. That's
Yeah.
why the first thing you always hear people in football game when they score a touchdown, love you, ma. That's
Mm-hmm.
they always shout out their mother because their mother laid down that foundation.
Man, bro,
Yeah.
I can't agree with you more. Like I said, I love being on y'all show because we always get into life topics because life is what does this boxing. I just want to shout out my wife, Teresa Hackett, my grandmother, Doris Romeo, and my mother, Evelyn Simmons, because those were the 3 most influential women in my life. My grandmother, she nurtured me. My mother made me tough, and my wife always had my back. So, those are the people that, did my thing. When it come to that, like you were saying, when it come to us doing bids, I did a 10-year stretch. When it come to that, 99% of the dudes that do that, they get support from a woman. That's who get them through that bid, that woman. Whether it's your mother, your sister, my sister, Tab, my best friend in the world, Tabitha, my sister, man, I can always depend on her. She wouldn't go against me if I was dead wrong. She'd cuss me out in the house, but she wouldn't go against me if I was dead wrong. So I knew she had my back. Most of us in here, we would look like cold-blooded bums, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for some girl that we was trying to impress. I'm an old school dude. I want to give a shout out to every woman who was called a gold digger from the 80s because she made me want to keep that shovel in my hand.
What do you think about this? What do you think about this, Kay? What do you think about this? We do a lot of talking. What do you think about this?
About this conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's heartfelt. The only thing I could do is sit back and just let you guys give women all the praise and glory.
No.
I'm just playing. But it's all but it takes 2. You know what I'm saying? I'm always about that. It takes 2, a man, woman, or however, your relationship is, your gender status or whatever. Especially with these kids. Nowadays, I don't have any children, but I have younger siblings and cousins and everything. And man, it's hard out here in these streets, man. These kids are different. And so it is taking more of a village. And of course, having a 2-parent household to do that, and everybody knowing basically the common goal and the common purpose of why this is all being done. I really don't get into all that high value men, high value women talk and everything else, because at the end of the day, none of that means anything to me. It's who gonna pick the kids up, who gonna get something, who's gonna cook, who gonna clean, all that other stuff. They could care less if it's high value this or high value that. Like, that stuff irritates me.
Yeah,
You know the thing I think that's funny about it, about a brother Bernard and Kay and Free and my man Prox, is that this is the first generation we see. We're trying to cannibalize each other. I was reading this book, man, and I hate to get so deep, but it was called The Delectable Negro. I'm not gonna tell you about it. Google it. You should see the kind of stuff that was done to us to kind of foster this man versus woman thing. And I think we the only community I see where we had this. And I think it sucks because you know what? I get what Brother Bernard is saying, but ain't nothing like seeing my dad back in the day with his waves, brushing his hair, wearing them Stacy Adams. Man, I don't know if you ever heard of them shoes. His old school boy used to wear these Stacy called Stacy Adams. And he always have a pinstripe suit on.
No. See, you know what?
Go ahead.
I'm the same way. Like my father was to me was my idol, and
Right.
that because I've always known my father to be a man to take care of his family, and that's what I said I wanted to do. When I have my own family, I wanted to be like my father and take care of my family. And so when you have a man in your life like that, you look at him as the head of the head of the family, which and we would credit the man to be the head of the family. But in nowadays is equal, because really, even back then, really the woman was the head of the family. We said it was the man, but it was really the woman, because the woman was the one that was doing everything in order for the man that can go out and work. Because if he didn't have that woman to go out that was taking care of the home, he couldn't go out and work because his house would be a wreck. His kids would be running wild. So it was always equal. They always said the man was the head of the household, but it was always equal. The woman was the head of the household because she did everything at the house. The man provided for the house, but the woman did everything at the house. But like I said, I always looked up to my father. When a man always want another man to look up to. If you want to be a man's man, you looking up to another man, whether it's somebody in your household or somebody out in the street. You always looking at another man to like, you know what? I want to be like that dude right there. I want to be like him, or I want to be like my father. I want to be like my grandfather. It's always another man. Just like a woman is always looking to another woman that they want to be like that woman. It could be their mother, their grandmother, their aunt. So it's just human nature that you look at your father that way, because that's who was in your life. So you want to look up to your father or your grandfather because it's human nature.
Yeah, that's how it is with me, my grandfather and my father. My grandfather is pretty. He showed me how to be like a man and move, but my grandmother is the brains behind this whole operation. Everything that we got, my grandmother is the brains, but my grandfather was a very powerful guy. So, but you know, and my stepdad, I don't like you said, I don't really like to call him that, but he was a Marine, so he was tough, and he taught me he got me through my teen years. But from the time I turned 20, my grandfather has been, like Free said, my idol. It's always that man. But my grandmother, I need somebody that can think like her, and that's why I'm single today, because I can't find nobody that think like my grandmother. And if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have none of this stuff. We wouldn't have none of this stuff. Because I grew up with stuff, but my grandfather, shout out to them, my grandparents and my parents.
Hey, brother Bernard, that's Richie Rich right there. You remember that show, Richie Rich? That's Pride. That's Richie Rich right there.
Don't let them fool you with that.
Good money, man.
Biltmore State. They stayed at the Biltmore State. That's where we strive to be. That's a beautiful thing. That's a compliment.
Pride is a dude you have as a friend. So when he go to the store, he gonna buy everybody a slushie. He the man. He the man.
Hey, he made a valid point though. If we think back to the strongest time for Black people, it was in the 60s. Financial, everything was in the 60s. And the reason why, because everybody knew they role. Most of the women ran the household because they were the only ones who had the educational ability to do it. A lot of our grandfathers, great-grandfathers couldn't read or write, but our grandmothers or great-grandmothers were able to do that. So everybody played their role. Everybody played their part. Your pop's role was to go get the money. Mom role was to make the money go where it need to go. Half of us, and I'm putting myself in that same boat. If our wife die, we do not know all of the pertinent information to get her buried. But I'm gonna tell you who do know it. You know who do know it? Your oldest sister. Your oldest sister, because mama taught her the game. If something happened to me, baby, you gotta look out for the family. Daddy gonna put the money in here, but you gotta know where it go.
Yeah.
That's real. We gotta understand it. Stuff got messed up for us around 86, 87, when I hate to say it like this, all the good men was taken off the street, and you had a bunch of Calvins, the old McDonald's commercial. You had a bunch of Calvins running around, and your mother started dating Calvin. And Calvin only knows sucker shit. He don't know real man stuff. So Calvin can only teach you how to be a real sucker. He can't teach you. Didn't before 1986, when that McDonald's commercial came out and they ran all the real men off the street. You ain't never hear the word metrosexual. That didn't exist.
Never.
Your father said you was a man. And when your father called home from prison, your mother told Calvin, be quiet. Even though your father knew she was dating Calvin, Calvin knew better. Don't you say nothing. He was scared of your father in jail. Don't you say nothing. Your mother tell him, shh, be quiet. Because she knew that one day this nigga coming home. And when he come home, once again, that sheep with that lion suit on got to change his clothes. Because the real lion is on the street again. And the first thing he do when he come home, he look at his son and say, nigga, what's your problem? Well, I talk back to my mother because Calvin do it. Who's Calvin? Mama boyfriend. Mama said, that's my boyfriend. He was just somebody messing with me. You was locked up. She cleared that up real fast. Because Calvin has no man aptitude to him. We got a lot of young men that was raised by Calvin. And all that is that Calvin trait coming out. Because if his father back in the picture, that Calvin trait don't exist. So you don't need a mother father.
I remember seeing that. I was a little kid watching that, and I remember, shout out to my Uncle Ma, said, man, that dude's a sucker.
Cold-blooded. Cold-blooded.
I was working at McDonald's.
I was
manager now.
Yeah. Calvin was a sucker.
I think we all hated that commercial. I know I hated that.
What you think about that, Kat? Did you think Calvin was a sucker too?
I'm not in that one.
Hey, Key, you ain't gotta say it. Let me just ask you this simple question.
Okay.
You financially are situated for yourself. You sound like it. Like you can take care of you.
Yes.
If you had to pick one of these two men, what you gonna pick? The dude who's just as financial successful as you, but he's a Calvin, or a dude that's working hard, not as successful as you, but when you go out with him, you feel safe. Which man you taking?
The second one.
Thank you. So we can end all other conversations. Don't need to be had.
Hey, what's that Tyler Perry movie? Bernard, what is it? What do you say, Judith?
Yeah, we ain't gotta ask her to pick no side. We got a woman will choose to be with a woman who makes her feel protected before she chooses a sucker. That's because once again, it's about her feeling protected. Providing for you is what the man should do and was able to do in the 60s. Now we got to do it together. But above all, if she don't feel protected, you can't be her man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. He preaching.
Hey, I remember my homeboy. We was coming from school. He got knocked in front of his girlfriend. And I remember he didn't say no word to her.
He got what happened to him?
He got knocked out.
You had to be a gladiator to walk home. I don't know if it's like that, maybe just in Cleveland, but you had to be a gladiator to walk home. He got knocked out going up the hill.
That's cold.
When she see that brother on the bus, she didn't say nothing to him.
You had to be a gladiator in DC to walk the streets, period.
And guess what? And guess what? If a dude knew you was a sucker, the most embarrassing thing he gonna do when you walking your girl home, he say, "Watch me grab her butt."
Yep.
Yeah, because he not gonna do nothing. And guess what? He gonna look at you and say, "Yeah, I did it. You know better. Keep on walking. Y'all make it on home now." Because he wanted to show her that you with a sucker. He could have $1 million, but he's still a sucker.
I just cannot picture that happening to me.
Hey, but you know what? I gotta thank Kay for being patient with me, not saying her name right. Hope to have her back soon. And you know we're gonna have my man brother Bernard back, man. He a regular guest. He just don't know it yet. You know, whenever I call the coach, he come right through and he drops and he drops Jews on us because you know what? At the end of the day, man, we can say what we want, we can do what we want, but if we not giving men and women real information, what we doing a podcast for? Because at the end of the day, it's only so much we can entertain. We got to do what we can to help each other along because that's what it's all about, getting better. We don't have the Uncle Lewis's doing those conferences no more like he used to. So this is our forum to figure out how we can be better and do better. And shout out to Jay Hardcore for helping me get counseling. People don't know. Go to counseling. If you're dealing with some stuff, don't wait till it turn to cancer. Go to counseling. So we got to do that. And we gone, man. And we'll see y'all next time.
Before you go, brother, I just want to say this is why I do it. This dude right here, I want him to always be a man.
Shout out, Jaleel.
As long as he being a man, then I did right. If he shows some Calvin traits, we got a problem.
Hey, tell Jaleel I said go Browns. I know he an Eagles fan. Tell him I said go Browns.
Go Birds. Tell him we about to go out in Brazil.
But no, we going to Super Bowl, baby. We going to Super Bowl this year. We got Deshaun Rub Down Watson back and Joku. We back, y'all.
Man, y'all going to Super Bowl if it's in your bathroom. If it's in your bathroom, y'all going to Super Bowl. The toilet bowl.
Nah, BBO, what you call your man?
Who?
Deshaun, what you call your man?
Oh, Deshaun Rub Down Watson. That's his nickname in Cleveland. Deshaun
Rub Down
Watson. Yeah, that's what they call me.
Yo, that's crazy.
Hey,
crazy.
balls. Now you play the game. See, you play when it's convenient, but we out here, y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Oh, next week, we got Stitch the Rant. Uncle Stitch is coming back. So make sure y'all see him. Uncle Stitch been talking some cool stuff. We're going to have some fun. And we're going to have Brother Bernard back. I don't know when, but like I said, he a regular guest. He just don't know it. We're going to have him back soon, too. And we go, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, get ready for the Rise podcast. Get ready for the Rise podcast.
We really boxing.